Give me a few minutes of your undivided attention, and I will show you how to purchase years of freedom at the price of a single decision. I make you no idle promise. If, before these minutes are over, I have not placed in your hands a clear plan by which an ordinary man may escape an ordinary fate, cast my words aside and return to the crowd. But if I keep faith, you must keep faith with yourself and obey at once. I speak plainly because the average path ruins more men than open vice. The average path looks safe, feels familiar, and ends in poverty. It steals youth by slow degrees, binds the will with easy habits, and rewards a lifetime of labor with worry, small pay, and the dull pain of wasted chance. If you remain as you are, drifting, undecided, ruled by the day, you hazard not only your own future, but the future of those who look to you for bread, example, and courage. Listen to me closely. If you go on as the average man goes on, you will sell the best years of your life for a wage too small to free you. You will borrow against tomorrow to satisfy today. You will reach the summit of your strength and find no summit of reward. And you will enter old age with a mind trained to expect little and to dread the postman, the landlord, and the physician. This is not fate. It is the natural harvest of drifting. If you remain average, you will accept another man's plan as your law. You will rise when you are told, sit where you are placed, and work as you are driven. You will endure criticism without cause and praise without profit. You will eat while counting the coins left for rent. You will teach your children by your example that life is a prison of small means and smaller hopes. You will make of your home a house where fear speaks first and last. If you remain average, you will learn to bargain with your own conscience. You will tell yourself that times are hard, that opportunity is rare, that men of fortune possess a secret shut to you. You will cultivate excuses as a farmer cultivates weeds, and they will choke the seed of your better nature. You will surrender to the habit of delay until delay becomes your master, and you will say, I might have. When life demands, you should have. If you remain average, you will not be merely poor in purse. You will be poor in spirit. You will fear the opinion of small men and fling away the good opinion of the man within. You will drift into the company of drifters. Their talk will weaken you. Their habits will bind you. Their counsel will waste your hours. You will give your children a roof and food, perhaps, but you will not give them the noble inheritance of a courageous example. I do not threaten. I diagnose. I spent long years studying men who rose from small beginnings to great stations, and men who toiled from youth to age and never rose at all. From that study, one cause stood out like a mountain: definiteness. Those who fixed a single chief aim believed they could attain it and pressed forward with organized plan and persistent action, overcame obstacles that break the average man. Those who drifted, regardless of their gifts, were ground down by the law that fixes habits into chains. Now let me tell you the truth, which many will call harsh. You can escape the average fate by small improvements, provided they are definite, daily, and above the common measure. You need not leap, but you must climb. Add a hair's breadth of thought where others bring none. Add a tenth of your pay to your own treasury where others add nothing. Add one act of extra service each day where others do only as they are driven. These measures, slight in the beginning, compound into power. What benefits will such small advances purchase? First, you will gain self-respect, for the man who governs his hours and his savings governs himself. Second, you will create reserve capital. Opportunity visits many doors, but it enters chiefly where there is a small chest of ready means. Third, you will be marked for promotion or partnership, for the world pays highest for the man whose service exceeds his price. Fourth, you will gain allies, because men of purpose seek one another as iron seeks the magnet. Fifth, you will taste independence. Independence begins not when you possess a fortune, but when you possess the habit of saving, the habit of extra service, and the habit of decision. Sixth, you will carry a calm mind to your home, for a man who advances daily has no need to drown his worry in idle talk. Seventh, you will prepare your household for better things, for your children will imitate the spirit that reigns under your roof. If you practice courage, they will learn courage. Eighth, you will shorten your road. The average man travels in circles. You will travel in a straight line. Ninth, you will draw to yourself ideas and chances that flee from the crowd. A definite mind is a lighthouse. Drifting minds are dark shores. 10th, you will make adversity your servant. The man who advances daily turns defeat into instruction and loss into a better plan, while the average man turns the same events into bitterness and retreat. You ask, perhaps, how such a change begins. It begins with listening without distraction. You cannot build a palace with a wandering hand, and you cannot build a fortune with a wandering mind. If you will profit by this address, you must put aside every diversion. Close your door. Lay out a clean sheet and a pencil. Resolve that for these next minutes nothing will intrude. No errand, no idle visitor, no vagrant thought. Attention is the coin with which you purchase wisdom. Why do I insist upon quiet? Because your subconscious mind, which is the workshop of your fate, obeys the instructions you impress upon it. If your attention is divided, your instructions are feeble. If your attention is complete, your instructions are commanding. Give me your whole ear, and I shall give you words which, repeated with belief, will turn into actions, and actions repeated with persistence will turn into habits, and habits fixed by time will turn into freedom. Let me prove my promise. In a moment, I shall command you to write a single statement which can raise you out of the crowd. Before that, I must tear away the last veil of the average path, so you will not walk back into it unawares. The average path is ruled by three petty kings: indecision, doubt, and fear. Indecision delays the first step. Doubt drains the second. Fear forbids the third. If you will renounce these three today, you may keep the whole harvest of the years to come. Indecision says, not yet. It will tell you to listen later, to write later, to save later, to act later. Later is the watchword of the poor. Doubt says, not you. It will tell you that you have been ordinary too long, that others possess gifts you lack, that the door is shut. Fear says, not safe. It will show you little losses and hide from you the great loss of a life half lived. These three are the wardens of the average prison. How shall you break their hold? By one act of decision, followed by one day of obedience, followed by the habit of small advances. Decide now that you will not leave this address without a written chief aim, a first plan, and a date. Obey today by performing one extra service and by setting aside 1/10 of all you receive. Repeat tomorrow. Within 30 days, the chain will be weakened. Within 90, it will be broken. I do not ask you to overturn your life in an hour. I ask for a few minutes of perfect attention, and I give you in return a plan that, if you act upon it, will purchase years of freedom from want, worry, and regret. If any man calls that bargain severe, let him return to the average path. It will collect a higher price in a quieter voice. Now, an instruction. Sit straight. Breathe calmly. Fix your mind upon the image of the man you intend to become, clear-eyed, industrious, just, and free. Take your pencil. Write, my definite chief aim is, and fill the line with one aim worthy of your best. Below it, write the price you will pay in extra service, in saving, in study, and in self-control. Below that, write the date by which you will take the first great step. You will complete the plan in due course, but you must begin at once. Place this paper where your eyes will meet it upon waking and before sleep. Read it aloud with feeling until belief becomes easy. This is how you set the compass. Next, turn a small wheel that moves a great engine. Render more service than you are paid to render. Do one thing today for your house, your patron, or your craft that is beyond your wage and within your honor. Record it. Do another tomorrow. This is how you start the engine. Set aside not less than 1/10 of all you receive. If you wait for a large surplus, you will wait forever. The man who begins with a coin proves to himself that he is master of his purse. Soon he will be master of his time. Direct your savings to tools, books, and clean ventures that increase your usefulness. Every coin so used is a seed which will return to you with companions. Attend to your company. A single bold friend is worth a crowd of idle talkers. Seek one man of good will and another of practical sense. Offer service to their aims and ask counsel for your own. Set a time each week when you meet in harmony to revise your plan and renew your courage. 2 minds moving in step-out walk, 20 minds asleep. Guard your attention. Give 1 hour each day to the study of your craft and the improvement of your plan. Keep a small ledger of your hours, your savings, and your acts of extra service. What you measure, you multiply. The average man measures nothing and wonders why nothing grows. You will measure much and see much grow. If temptation whispers that these measures are too small to matter, answer with this truth. The river that turns the mill is made of drops. The mind that builds a fortune is made of thoughts, choices, and acts no larger than a breath. But rightly chosen, they become a torrent. The average man neglects the drop and loses the river. You will gather the drops and command the stream. Perhaps you feel a stirring of resistance. I have tried and failed. I tell you, there is no failure for the man who learns. There is only temporary defeat. Each defeat carries a message. Read it, adjust your plan, and press on. The average man takes defeat as a verdict. The man of purpose takes it as instruction. This single change of meaning can save you 20 years of wandering. Now, before we go further, give me your pledge of attention. Say within yourself, for these minutes I will put aside all trifles. I will give my mind wholly to the building of my fortune. I will hear, I will write, I will act. This pledge is not to me. It is to the man you intend to become. Break it, and you break faith with your own future. Keep it, and you begin to walk out of the crowd. I will be frank. Many who hear these words will flee from them because they are stronger than flattery and sharper than comfort. They will call the counsel severe, the commands too plain, the demands too immediate. Let them go. Gold is not found in the garden of ease. It is found by the man who digs where others only talk. You are still reading, which proves you are not afraid to dig. In a moment, I shall lead you, step by step, through the laws that raise a man from the average path to the path of purpose. I shall show you how to think accurately, how to decide promptly, how to persist daily, how to form an alliance of power, how to turn imagination into organized planning, how to plant belief in the subconscious, and how to keep your dealings just so that your fortune stands. But first, fix the central vow. You will not drift. Repeat after me, aloud and without shame. I am not a drifter. I am a man of definite purpose. I decide. I act. I persist. I render more service than I am paid to render. I save with purpose. I govern my attention. I keep faith with my future. Speak it until your own voice convinces you. For your voice is the first voice your mind obeys. If you do this, if you give me a few minutes of serious attention and then give yourself a few weeks of disciplined action, you will begin to feel a new wind in your affairs. Men will answer you differently. Chance will visit your door more often. Your home will be quieter at night. Your work will grow simpler because your plan grows clearer. These are the early signs of freedom, and they are purchased by small, steady payments. If you refuse, if you scatter your attention, if you make a joke of these minutes, if you say tomorrow, as the average always says, then return to the path you came by and be content with its pay. It will cost you dearer than this. It will cost you your pride, your peace, and the respect of those whose respect you most desire. I cannot soften that sentence because life will not soften it. Choose. Sit alone, shut out every diversion, and listen with both ears. Take up your pencil and write. Then stand up and take the first small step that lies nearest your hand. Make this hour the divide in your history, the hour when you ceased to be average and began to be a man of purpose. Give me your attention now, and I shall give you the plan. Give yourself to the plan, and the years will give you freedom. You have been taught, perhaps by long habit, to believe that the proper course of a man is to toil from the flush of youth until the gray of old age, content with a modest wage and a small home, and to be grateful for the chance to repeat this cycle until the grave calls. I tell you plainly, such a path is the path of the drifter. It leads nowhere but to the same station from which you set out. The drifter lives without a chart or compass. He labors under orders he did not write, with no definite aim in mind save to pass the day. He allows circumstance to dictate his movements. He goes where others send him, believes what others tell him, and spends what others pay him. At the end, he has only the wear of his years, and the dull ache of regret to show for his half-century of effort. In contrast stands the man of definiteness. He begins with a clearly written chief aim, which he reads and repeats until it is engraved upon his mind. He makes every choice, great or small, by asking, "Does this lead toward my aim?" He adjusts his hours, his companions, his reading, and his service to fit the plan. This man may labor as long as the drifter, but each day's labor builds a tower, not a treadmill. I command you now to pause in this very hour and write upon a clean sheet the single clear purpose to which you will henceforth devote the best that is in you. Make it plain enough that a child could understand it. State in it the service you will render, the gain you will secure, and the date by which it will be done. This is the chart of your voyage, and without it, you will drift. Write also the price you are willing to pay in labor, thought, and self-denial, for every aim demands its price, and nature accepts no promises in place of payment. If you would be free in years to come, you must begin to pay now in the coin of extra service, in the habit of saving, in the strict control of your thoughts, and in the steadfast faith that your aim is attainable. Post this written aim where your eyes shall see it each morning upon waking and each night before sleeping. Read it aloud with force, seeing in your mind the work completed, the service rendered, and the reward in hand. Do this until your mind accepts it as fact, and your acts begin to align with it as surely as the rivers run to the sea. Consider Edwin C. Barnes. He fixed in his mind the purpose to be in business with Thomas A. Edison. Lacking money for fare, he rode upon a freight train to the inventor's town. Lacking introduction, he presented himself at the office and asked for a chance. Years passed before his aim took form, yet he stood by it until he became Edison's associate in truth. Or look to F.W. Woolworth, who began with a small counter in another man's store, selling notions few believed could yield a profit. He held to his plan, expanded step by step, and in time covered the nation with his own shops. The counter was small, but the aim behind it was large and definite, and it was pursued with tireless faith. Recall, too, the sermon of Dr. Frank W. Gonsalves, who declared he would build a college upon the faith that some man of means would back the vision. That man was Philip D. Armour, who provided the funds because he saw in Gonsalves a man who had burned the bridge to retreat and was marching toward his aim with his whole soul. Definiteness alone will not suffice unless you surround yourself with allies. Name now 2 men of goodwill whose judgment you respect and who will aid you in counsel and in encouragement. Approach them with an offer of service to their aims in return for their service to yours. Thus will you plant the seed of a mastermind alliance, which will multiply your power as the lever multiplies the hand. Make no delay, for every day you remain without a chief aim, you are drifting. Drifting is the tool by which the years rob men of their youth and their opportunities. Decide now, write now, act now. Begin the habit of doing each day the thing that moves you one step nearer to your aim, however small the step may seem. Repeat aloud until your voice carries it into the depths of your mind. I am not a drifter. I am a man of definite purpose. I decide. I act. I persist. I render more service than I am paid to render. Let these words become the creed by which you judge your acts and the banner under which you march. From this moment you stand at a fork in the road. One path is broad, well trodden, and leads to the crowded valley where the average man ends his days in want and weariness. The other is narrow, steep, and lit by the fire of purpose. Choose the narrow path, and though it test your courage, it will lead you to the heights where freedom, abundance, and self-respect dwell. The poverty of the average man is seldom the work of chance. It is the natural harvest of causes sown over many years, causes such as indecision, doubt, and fear. These three march together in a chain, each link fastening the next. Indecision invites doubt. Doubt breeds fear. Fear paralyzes action, and thus a man remains as he is. Indecision is the habit of waiting for a sign, for permission, for a better day before acting. It is the man who says, "I will decide tomorrow," until there are no tomorrows left. He sees an opportunity, but he wonders if it may not bring trouble. He asks advice from those unfit to give it, and when they answer with their own fears, he lets the moment pass. From indecision flows doubt. Doubt whispers that you are unready, that the world is not favorable, that you must first acquire something you lack. Doubt measures every plan against the chance of failure rather than the promise of success. A mind filled with doubt resembles a ship that drags its anchor. Even the strongest wind of opportunity cannot move it far. Fear is the final jailer. There are 6 chief fears: poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. Of these, fear of poverty and fear of criticism are the most common wardens that keep men bound to the average path. The man who fears poverty will not risk his comfort for the promise of greater gain. The man who fears criticism will not stand alone when truth demands it. The environment feeds these fears. A man who surrounds himself with the timid will soon speak their language and adopt their habits. The acceptance of small wages as if they were fixed by fate dulls ambition. The waste of hours in idle company and idle talk steals the very material from which fortune is built. Without a plan to increase his usefulness, he becomes like stagnant water, clouded, lifeless, unfit to nourish growth. To escape, you must practice accurate thinking. Refuse to accept statements as truth unless they rest upon known facts or sound reasoning. Close your mind against the gossip, the complaint, and the casual opinion of those who do not bear responsibility for your results. Let your attention be controlled, directed toward that which serves your chief aim, and refuse to scatter it upon trifles. Self-control must be cultivated. The man who cannot control his own tongue, temper, and appetite will find it impossible to control his destiny. Restraint in speech will keep you from sowing seeds of your own defeat. Restraint in feeling will prevent you from being swayed by every wind of emotion. Restraint in habit will guard your hours from the thieves of time. Tolerance is the companion of self-control. It is the closing of the mind against useless opinion while keeping it open to truth in whatever form it appears. The intolerant man blinds himself to the very idea that might have saved him. The tolerant man sifts the gold of wisdom from the sands of talk, keeping the gold and discarding the rest. Now I command you to examine yourself. Take a sheet of paper and write every alibi you have used to explain why you have not advanced. Write them without excuse or defense. You will see them for what they are, chains you have forged. Strike each from your speech, and when the thought arises, replace it with one that moves you toward your aim. For 7 days, record how you spend each hour. Be honest. At the end, mark the hours that served your chief aim and those that did not. This will show you where your fortune leaks away. Next, name 3 influences, be they persons, habits, or places, that weaken your courage and remove them from your environment. Mark the example of Abraham Lincoln, who faced a nation divided and endured criticism sharper than the edge of a sword. He held to his decisions, knowing that no great cause is advanced without the opposition of small minds. Or look to Henry Ford, who clung to his plan for the motor car while wise men scoffed, declaring the public would never want such a machine. Consider John Wanamaker, who built a mercantile empire not by chance but by orderly method. He studied his trade, planned his growth, and refused to let passing opinion turn him from his course. His was a mind trained to attend to the work at hand, to think accurately, and to act with precision. These men kept harmony in their councils, for no mastermind can function without harmony. If discord arises within your alliance and cannot be resolved, you must replace the member, for one disharmonious spirit can sap the power of all. Guard the unity of your circle as you would guard the key to your strongbox. Shut your mind against fear and idle talk. Think accurately. Attend to that which advances your definite aim. Speak aloud this resolve until it takes root. I shut my mind against fear and idle talk. I think accurately. I attend to that which advances my definite aim. Let these words be your armor as you move through the noise of the average path. The average path ends in poverty because it is governed by weakness of thought and waste of time. The path of purpose ends in plenty because it is governed by accuracy, control, and steady attention. The choice between them is made not once, but in every hour, with every thought and every act. Choose well and choose often. The man who believes that his pay envelope contains the full measure of his compensation is already underpaid. His true wages are measured in skill acquired, character built, and goodwill earned through the quality of his service. These are the coins of greater value than gold, for they cannot be taken from him once he has gained them. The habit of rendering more service than is paid for is the one sure way to increase the value of your labor in the market. Employers seek men whose worth exceeds their cost. The public rewards the merchant who gives more than the price demands. Nature herself multiplies the harvest for him who plants more seed than is required to feed him for the day. This habit is not to be confused with wasteful toil. Extra service must be rendered with thought, so that it adds to the usefulness of your work and builds your reputation. The careless worker may put in longer hours, but the wise worker puts in better hours. Hours that improve the work, please the customer, and show readiness for greater trust. Tie this habit of extra service to the habit of saving. Resolve now to set aside not less than 1/10 of all you receive. This is not hoarding, it is planting. Each coin saved is a seed which, if properly sown in tools, knowledge, or sound enterprise, will grow into more than itself. The man without savings is at the mercy of chance. The man with capital can seize opportunity. Begin your saving now, even if the sum seems small. The discipline is worth more in the early days than the amount. As your income grows, your savings will grow in like measure, for you will have trained yourself to live upon less than you earn. This is a habit that builds freedom, for it breaks the chains of dependence. Look to the example of John D. Rockefeller. As a young clerk, he kept careful account of every cent earned and spent, and from the first he saved. When the right venture appeared, he had the means to take it, and from that step grew his great fortune. Without the habit of saving, his chance might have passed him by. Andrew Carnegie began as a telegraph boy, earning a modest wage, but he added to his value by learning more than his duties required and by saving from the start. His willingness to give more than he was paid and to invest his savings wisely made him a man who could choose his own path long before most would dare to dream of it. Charles M. Schwab rose from day labor to command vast enterprises because he was known for cheerful, willing service. He looked upon every task as an opportunity to display readiness for more. His spirit won the trust of those above him, and when greater positions opened, his name was called. This is the power of extra service rendered in the right spirit. Now I command you to list 5 ways you can increase your usefulness to your present house. These may be improvements in method, acts of courtesy to those you serve, study that gives you more skill, or suggestions that cut waste. Choose one and act upon it today. Add another tomorrow. In 30 days, you will be of greater value than when you began. Add also one new courtesy and one new efficiency each day for 30 days. Courtesy costs nothing and buys much. Efficiency saves time and labor, and both are treasures to those who employ you or trade with you. Keep a ledger of the favors you render and the results they bring. This will encourage you when your labor seems unnoticed. Direct your saved sums toward tools that increase your earning power, books that sharpen your mind, or plans that will multiply your service. To spend savings upon trifles is to plant your seed in barren ground. Guard your capital as a farmer guards his best seed, for it is the beginning of every fortune. Repeat daily, I save with purpose. I render more than I am paid for. My service creates demand for my increased pay. Say it with conviction until your acts give proof of it. The man who lives by this creed will not remain on the average path. He will rise above it as surely as the sower who plants in season reaps in harvest. The path of extra service and wise saving leads to self-reliance. Self-reliance leads to independence. Independence is the soil in which riches grow. The man who owns his tools, his trade, and his time can shape his destiny, while the man who spends all he earns is bound to the will of others. Choose the former, and your 50 years will be a march to plenty, not to want. Desire alone, no matter how burning, will not turn itself into gold. Desire must be given shape, direction, and method. That shape is a plan. That direction comes from a mind trained to think accurately. That method is organized planning, supported by the combined intelligence of a mastermind alliance. Without these, the greatest desire soon cools into mere wishing. Begin with your definite aim in hand. Write beneath it the steps necessary to bring it to pass. Let each step be clear, measurable, and possible with the means you can secure. Assign times for each step. A plan without dates is like a ship without a rudder. When you meet obstacles, revise the plan, but never the aim. The aim is the compass, the plan is the route. Now add to your plan the power of a master mind. Select from 2 to 5 allies, each possessing qualities or knowledge that will aid your purpose. Choose men of integrity, faith, and industry, for one disloyal mind can undo the labor of many. Your alliance must be bound by a pledge of mutual aid, and its meetings must be sacred to harmony and purpose. Fix appointment times for your councils. Twice each week is the least frequency at which the flame of combined thought can be kept bright. Prepare a written agenda before each meeting, stating the matters to be discussed, the decisions to be made, and the duties to be assigned. Begin on time, end on time, and let every member depart with clear tasks in hand. Maintain strict harmony. No quarrel, no jealousy, no selfish dispute can be permitted. The mastermind functions only when the members' thoughts are blended in a spirit of perfect agreement upon the aim. If discord enters and cannot be removed, it is your duty to replace the member, for the alliance is greater than any one man. Let the exchange of benefits be definite. Each member must render something of value, knowledge, skill, influence, or resources, and in return receive like value from the alliance. This is not charity. It is cooperative enterprise. The man who takes without giving weakens the current of power. The man who gives strengthens it. Study the example of Thomas A. Edison, whose name is known to the world for invention, yet who never worked alone. He surrounded himself with able assistants, each a master of his own field, and from their combined efforts came the marvels we take for granted today. Edison was the directing mind, but his results were multiplied by organized cooperation. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, built his fortune by surrounding himself with men of many gifts, managers, engineers, salesmen, each entrusted with authority, each rewarded for results. He declared that his greatest asset was the ability to bring able men together in harmonious effort toward a definite goal. That is the master mind in its highest form. John Wanamaker's mercantile success was no accident. He built orderly systems, assigned definite duties, and demanded reports. His stores were vast, but every department was governed by the same principles of organized planning that could be applied to the smallest shop. The plan was the backbone. The people, properly chosen, were the muscle. George Eastman, creator of the great photographic enterprise, gathered scientists, craftsmen, and business minds into a single force. By uniting their knowledge under one organized plan, he made the art of photography a household utility. The idea was his. The plan was his. The execution was the work of many minds directed as one. From this hour, I command you to think of yourself not as a lone worker, but as a builder among builders. Your plan is the blueprint. Your mastermind alliance is the crew. Your definite aim is the completed structure. Without the blueprint, the crew will falter. Without the crew, the blueprint will gather dust. Write the names of the men you will invite into your alliance. Write the reason each is chosen. Write what you will give to each and what you expect to receive. Draft a brief pledge of harmony and mutual service for all to sign. Set the date for your first council. Do not delay. The longer you wait, the more your plan will remain a dream. At each meeting, review your definite aim. Assign next actions to each member. Record all results and difficulties. Revise the plan where it fails, strengthen it where it works, and press forward. Let no wounded pride keep you from changing a method that does not serve. The wise builder changes the tool, not the foundation. Repeat aloud until your heart believes it. I attract men of harmony. We combine our minds. We plan our work and work our plan. Let this be the watchword of your alliance, and let it remind you that power grows in the soil of organized effort, fertilized by harmony and watered by persistent action. When desire is organized into plans, and those plans are charged with the united power of a master mind, they become living things, moving steadily toward their goal. Without plan, desire is like uncaptured steam, full of energy but without direction. Capture it, guide it, and it will turn the wheels that produce your riches. There are two gates through which every man must pass if he would escape the valley of poverty and climb to the heights of plenty. One gate is marked decision, the other persistence. Many approach the first but turn aside, others pass it but never reach the second. Only those who pass both stand in the land of abundance. Decision is the mastery over hesitation. It is the act of fixing the mind upon one course and refusing to be moved until the goal is reached or the plan replaced with a better. Indecision wastes years, for it leaves the mind open to every wind of opinion. The man who cannot decide swiftly is at the mercy of the man who can. When you see a course that serves your definite aim and accords with justice, decide at once. The longer you wait, the more doubt will creep in. The more counsel you will hear from those who know less than you, and the less strength you will have to act. Prompt decision is a habit, and like all habits, it grows stronger with practice. Mark the example of Henry Ford, who held to his plan for a motor car within the reach of every man, though wise heads shook and said the public did not want it. His decision was ridiculed, opposed, and resisted. Yet he acted and kept acting until the world accepted his decision as wisdom. Persistence is the long obedience to that decision. Many can decide with courage, but lack the stamina to continue when the first hardship comes. They change plans at the first defeat, or they abandon them altogether. The persistent man meets defeat as a temporary signal to improve the plan and press on. There are 4 supports to persistence. First, a definite purpose backed by burning desire. Second, a definite plan expressed in continuous action. Third, a mind closed against all discouraging and negative influences. Fourth, a friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage you to follow through with both plan and purpose. Thomas A. Edison decided to produce electric light. He persisted through thousands of experiments, each a temporary defeat. Lesser men would have quit after the first score, but Edison saw each as a step toward the final result. His persistence turned what others called failure into progress. Abraham Lincoln decided to hold the Union together. He suffered defeat in elections, endured bitter criticism, and bore the weight of war. Yet he persisted in his course until the aim was fulfilled. History does not remember the defeats. It remembers the decision and the persistence that overcame them. I command you now to write one decision due this very day, something that will advance your definite aim, and to take it before night. Do not wait until all facts are in your hand, for they never will be. Act on the best you can secure and gather the rest on the march. Choose also one labor that you will repeat daily for 90 days in service of your aim. It may be a call, a letter, a study, a sale, or a saving. Keep a record of each day you hold to it, and let no day pass without the mark of completion. This is how persistence is built, one kept promise at a time. Keep a log of the days you held fast when it was hard, and share it with your master mind. Let them encourage you when your will is weak, and be ready to encourage them in return. Mutual persistence is stronger than solitary effort. Say aloud each morning, I decide now. I never quit. Temporary defeat is not failure. I move until the goal yields. Let these words become your habit, for habit governs persistence as it governs all other traits. Decision opens the gate. Persistence carries you through the long road beyond. Without decision, there is no beginning. Without persistence, there is no finish. Pass both gates, and the path will lead you far from the average way, where men labor for 50 years and remain poor. The riches you desire will not come by chance. They must first be shaped in the workshop of the mind. That workshop is called imagination. It is here that desire is given form, here that vague hope becomes a definite plan. Without imagination, no plan can be born. Without a plan, no riches can be gained. There are two forms of imagination. One is synthetic imagination, which combines old ideas into new arrangements. The other is creative imagination, which receives fresh ideas from infinite intelligence. Both are useful. Both can be cultivated. You will find that your best plans often begin as a faint thought, which, when examined and shaped, becomes a clear design. Yet imagination alone is but a sketch. To make it into a structure that will stand, you must supply it with specialized knowledge. General knowledge, no matter how vast, will not serve unless it is organized and applied to a definite aim. Specialized knowledge gives substance to the plan and equips you to carry it out. If you lack such knowledge, you may acquire it through study, by employment in the field you wish to master, or by association with men who possess it. The wise man is not afraid to pay for knowledge, for he knows it is cheaper to buy the experience of others than to learn by the cost of his own mistakes. George Eastman mastered the art of organizing knowledge. His ideas for photography were not entirely new, but he gathered the facts, the skill, and the men who understood each detail, and he united them into a single plan. The result was an enterprise that made a once complex art simple for every household. Andrew Carnegie, though not an engineer, built a steel empire by employing men who were masters of that craft. His genius lay in knowing what he wanted and in concentrating upon acquiring the men and means to achieve it. Specialized knowledge, wherever found, was drawn into his service. Edison's genius was not in knowing all things, but in holding his imagination upon one problem until every possible solution was tried. He concentrated his thought upon the improvement of the electric lamp until the right combination was found. That is concentration, the magic key that turns desire into reality. Concentration is the act of fixing all your attention, thought, and effort upon one aim until it bends to your will. The scattered mind, leaping from one idea to another, may amuse itself but will accomplish little. The mind that holds to one purpose until the work is done becomes a power before which obstacles fall away. I command you to appoint 1 hour daily for the study of the field tied to your definite aim. Guard this hour as you would guard a treasure. Let no idle talk, no petty errand, no drifting thought steal it from you. This hour will be the anvil upon which your fortune is forged. Write also a list of men from whom knowledge may be procured, men who know the road you would travel, men whose failures and victories can guide your steps. Seek them out. Offer service in exchange for instruction. Knowledge thus gained will be richer to you than gold found in the street. Form a reading circle with your allies, each to bring useful matter to the council. Share facts, methods, and contacts. Let your discussions be focused and your minds fixed on the common aim. This is concentration in alliance, a power greater than the sum of its parts. Design a simple plan upon paper. Let it contain your aim, the steps toward it, the knowledge required, and the names of those who can supply it. Hold this plan in your mind until it becomes as real to you as the ground under your feet. This is how imagination, knowledge, and concentration work together to bring riches into being. Say aloud each day, I gather facts, I shape plans, I hold my mind upon one thing until it serves me. Let this be your shield against the distractions that lead men back to the average path. From this day, let your mind be a workshop, not a marketplace. In the marketplace, idle talk and passing shows consume the hours. In the workshop, every thought, every tool, and every stroke of the hand moves the work toward completion. The workshop builds, the marketplace drifts. Choose the workshop. Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Without faith, the plan you have formed remains a lifeless drawing. With faith, it becomes a living force that moves you and others toward its fulfillment. Faith is a state of mind you must create, and you must create it by your own deliberate effort. Faith is not born of chance. It is built by repeated instructions to the subconscious mind, instructions given with belief, emotion, and persistence. The instrument by which you give these instructions is autosuggestion. You speak to yourself until the mind accepts what you say as truth, and then the mind begins to act in harmony with that truth. Your subconscious mind is the connecting link between your conscious desires and infinite intelligence. It receives the orders you give it, whether those orders are of fear and failure or of faith and success, and it acts upon them without question. Therefore, you must guard the thoughts and words you permit to enter this inner chamber. To plant faith, write your definite chief aim and read it aloud twice each day, once upon rising, once before retiring. As you read, see and feel yourself already in possession of the object of your desire. Let your voice carry conviction. Let your mind be filled with the picture. Let your heart burn with the joy of attainment. This is not idle recitation. It is a deliberate training of the mind to believe. The more you repeat, the more the subconscious accepts, until belief becomes natural. When belief is natural, action becomes easy. When action is easy, success becomes inevitable. Faith is the bridge from desire to achievement. In the practice of autosuggestion, emotion is your most powerful ally. Words spoken without feeling are like seeds cast upon stone. Words charged with faith, desire, and determination are like seeds planted in rich soil, watered, and warmed by the sun. The subconscious mind responds only to that which is felt. From time to time, ideas will flash into your mind, plans, warnings, opportunities. This is the work of the sixth sense, the faculty by which infinite intelligence reaches you. These flashes come without warning, but they never come to the idle. They come to the man whose mind is prepared by definiteness, faith, and persistent action. When such a flash comes, act upon it at once. Do not wait for clearer light, for it will fade. Many fortunes have been made or lost in the moment between the flash of idea and the decision to act. The man who hesitates loses the gift. The man who obeys it may find in it the key to his fortune. Countless men have held to their belief while building works we now call great. They stood alone at first, mocked or ignored, but their faith in their aim carried them through years of toil until the world was forced to see what they had seen from the beginning. There are times when one right thought, acted upon in season, has changed the course of a business or a life. Such thoughts are the whispers of infinite intelligence. They come to those who have trained their minds to receive by the daily practice of reading their aim, speaking their belief, and acting without delay. I command you to keep counsel with your allies concerning these ideas. Share the flashes you receive. Listen to theirs. Often the thought you receive will be clarified or strengthened by the combined insight of the master mind. Guard these counsels from the intrusion of doubt or ridicule, for such intrusions close the door of the sixth sense. Speak daily this covenant: I believe and act. I feed my mind only that which serves my purpose. I welcome the guiding flash and obey at once. Let it become so fixed in your mind that it guides your conduct without conscious effort. Faith, autosuggestion, the subconscious, and the sixth sense are not separate forces. They are one current flowing through different channels. Faith directs the current. Autosuggestion opens the channel. The subconscious receives and applies the current. The sixth sense brings in new power from the infinite. Together they form the unseen machinery of success. When you have mastered their use, you will no longer doubt the outcome of your plans. You will know that what you desire you can and will attain. That knowledge will be the surest possession you have, for it cannot be stolen, taxed, or destroyed. It will carry you through all adversity and keep you from the average path. No edifice of lasting success can stand without the foundation of justice. The golden rule, to render unto every man the same measure of fairness and service you would desire in return, is not a mere ornament of conduct. It is a practical law of enduring prosperity. Riches built upon deceit carry within them the seed of their own ruin. The man who violates this rule may gather wealth for a time, but he will not keep it in peace. Suspicion will follow him. Trust will be denied him, and his own conscience will wage war upon him. The man who keeps this rule gains allies, confidence, and goodwill. These are forms of capital which yield interest far beyond gold. Tolerance is the companion of the golden rule. The intolerant mind closes itself against truth, whether that truth comes from friend, stranger, or foe. The man who refuses to listen because the speaker is of another race, creed, or station may miss the one idea that would have opened the door to his fortune. Keep your mind open to truth from every quarter, and your dealings fair in every matter. Environment is the soil in which the seeds of your purpose will grow or wither. You cannot expect to rise if you dwell among those who scoff at your aim, waste your hours, or drain your courage. Choose your companions as a merchant chooses his wares, with an eye to their quality and their effect upon your business of life. Remove from your circle one unwholesome influence this week. It may be a man whose talk is always of failure, a habit that steals your time, or a place where nothing useful is gained. In its place, add one association that uplifts you, be it a man of vision, a book of sound principles, or a meeting of those who build rather than tear down. Adversity will visit you even when your path is right. When it comes, seek within it the seed of an equivalent benefit. Often a loss will turn your mind toward a better plan. A defeat will strengthen your skill. A betrayal will teach you to choose your allies more wisely. The man who redeems his adversities thus makes them servants rather than masters. Look to those builders who kept the confidence of the public by clean dealing. Their fortunes endured because they were rooted in trust. Look also to leaders who won by patience and fairness rather than trickery. Their influence outlasted their lifetimes, for it was built upon the solid ground of integrity. Now bind your own work with a pledge of fair dealing in all plans. Write it, sign it, and keep it where your eyes will fall upon it. Reconcile, if you can, with one man against whom you have harbored ill will, for such enmity is a weight upon the mind and a thief of concentration. From this moment, burn the bridge to drifting. Place in your calendar the dates of your mastermind meetings for the next 3 months. Begin your saving plan this week, not next. Take the first hard step before this day ends while your will is warm. Let no hour pass without some act that moves you forward. Repeat aloud as a seal upon your mind, I walk the path of purpose. I render just service. I keep harmony. I advance daily. I refuse the average path forever. Let these words be the closing of one chapter and the opening of another, where your life is governed not by the habits of the crowd, but by the laws of success. The average path is broad and easy, but it ends in the poverty of mind, purse, and spirit. The path of purpose is narrow and steep, but it ends in the abundance of freedom, security, and self-respect. The choice is yours alone. Choose now, and let your choice be final. From this hour, let no day find you idle, no plan without action, and no act without the stamp of your highest self.